Welcome to the Wellness Reimagined. I'm your host, Shreya. Today I'm joined by the innovative and thought provoking David Deighton, artist, social media experimenter, and the mind behind Triptych Dialogue. Through art activism, spontaneous conversation, and bold public experiments, he has been reshaping how we engage with strangers in a world that's increasingly disconnected. His mission is simple yet profound to help us rediscover presence, curiosity, and genuine human connection in an age of noise and division. Welcome, David. I'm honored to have you on my show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And David, what first made you realize that engaging strangers could be a powerful doorway to presence and mindful connections?
Well, it's a journey for sure. It started with me trying to always connect with my public as an artist, but in an anonymous way, not in person, through different names, different artist names, through hidden artwork where nobody knew who I was. And I always have been doing some political work, political artwork,
Mm.
which has been mostly about just telling people what my opinion was. And that just goes so far. There's a time when we're increasingly divided because of our political beliefs. There's people that are no longer speaking to people that were close to them because of their political opinions, members of their family and friends. They rather not have an argument over politics. And in order to do that, I found that to talk to my public, I needed to do that in person, face to face, and to engage them, and to not hide behind a name. I needed to do it in person. And um, it's one thing dealing with your public, but it's another doing it with strangers, just strangers you meet, and seeing how that works, and seeing how one could maybe talk about politics as a taboo subject without getting upset at one another, and seeing how I can do that using artwork. And that's what I've been trying to do. Mm,
That's really beautiful. And also, when people take that first step into a conversation with stranger, what shift do you see in their awareness?
Um, well, they're a shift in their awareness. It's been mostly in my approach, right? How do you approach a stranger, and
Yeah.
how do you talk to them out of the blue? And which place would that be? Which space? Where do you do this? Not just why, but where? And and I found that I had to be very present and to be there for that person, and to be there, to be present. I needed to be able to acknowledge all my senses, keep my mind under control so I could be there to hear really what they had to say, to listen actively, and to find maybe what I had in common with them, maybe a word or something as such. And when I could do that, when I could start approaching and being on that path, then things started to change, as in their openness, their willingness um, to say the things that were closer to their heart, and to also express maybe emotions that they may have been withholding.
Mm.
I've shared before that sometimes people cry as they never had the opportunity, or recently have not had the opportunity to express their opinions on a political subject that they felt very strongly about broken relationships because of the subject. And that that's what I've noticed as a change, is my presence allowed others to be more present.
Yes. I think that shift often shows how deeply we are wired for connection, even when we forget it in daily life. And also, your Triptych Dialogue project explores bridging divides through structured yet simple conversation. How do you think these tools disarm people emotionally?
they disarm people. I don't know if it disarms them. What it does is, if you create a piece of art, and that includes, in this case, in a performance art piece, when you're engaging with other people, you've uh, you had the luxury of choosing which space you're going to have the conversation in. You have somewhat of control as to what you're going to ask, but you have no control of how things are going to get back to you. Um, so and I think that applies to all of our conversations, is to find if it's something sensitive or something that goes down to our deeper emotions, and we need to be conscious of where we do these things, um, and not maybe when people are busy or off on the way to work, or just some very basic things, to be conscious of our surroundings, be conscious of where people are at in order to serve them better, to give them the space to express themselves. Mm, I think that would be it.
Ha- that's absolutely so beautiful the way you answer it. And also, is there a particular technique that like consistently opens people up no matter their background?
Well, it'd be different for different people. So, in my case, as an artist, it's to come from a different angle. Um, I don't just ask people non-confrontational. I ask them non-confrontational political questions. But there's also a piece of artwork that's not too far, a sculpture, or a painting, or some installation of sorts. And that's also about creating the space for the engagement to happen. Um, so it's about how we engage with others. And this is just my example of how I deal with it. Other people have different ways of approaching people. It might be with just offering someone a cake, or offering them a banana, or something like this. It's the engagement to the other. It's having something to give in order to then receive. And that's 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 the first step. Mm, yes.
And I think it's really fascinating how small conversational frameworks can dissolve tension that entire system struggles to address. And also, you have spoken with hundreds of people about politics, a topic many people avoid. What have this what have these dialogues taught you about mindfulness and conflict?
Right. So here I am, asking people to talk about a taboo subject, right? And and most people are willing to do so because I promise to listen,
Mm.
to listen to what they have to say. Um, and in the process of listening, it's not just waiting to hear what argument I will be able to what my counter argument will be, uh, how I can correct them on what they just said, or criticize their their opinions, or what fact they brought up. Um, it's it's to look deeper and to find something on the emotional level, how how they feel about something. Are they If they're angry about politics, let's say they're on the opposite side of me politically in all my beliefs, and I'm letting all that go by, everything that upsets me, um, and trying to be there for them, and they say they're angry about the system, political system, and if I am as well, I'll let them know. I'll let them know that I disagree with everything they said, except I'm also angry, and show them through that I have that commonality with them, that we share that humanity, that we can proceed on those grounds, and then they can see that other people also have the same feelings, right? And we can move on from there. On that level, I think we can find a constant success, if we're not trying to impose our opinions on others, but show also what we have in common. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, do you find that people are more willing to listen when they feel truly witnessed, even without agreement?
Yeah, 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 that's right. They feel witnessed, right? Yeah, it's an act of kindness just to be there, be present for someone else that you don't know, a stranger, give them a space to speak about something that most people would never ask them about, and um, they you offer your presence, right? You're there for them for that short amount of time, and it often brings a release for them, an emotional release. Not that they're going to yell at you because there's civility in conversation, especially if all you're doing is listening, right? And you're showing intent because you're leaning in, you're listening to what they have to say. You're not exposing any rage on your part because you're there hearing all these things. And um and the people respond very well to that. Use the word witness. um I take that, all those interactions, as material for my artwork. um their responses are what I use in a painting or a sculpture later on. Their words that they give me, I also use in different expressions as well. And I think we can, even if I consider everyone to be an artist, right? It's the act of um, it's acting with intention, and we all can have that moment expressed in different manners and get something back from it that we can use in our own expression, right? Part of either our practice, our daily practice of being present or mindful, or also just of acts of loving kindness to others. And that's part of our artwork, maybe something like this.
I think this distinction between listening to reply and listening to understand is where the real transformation seems to begin. And also, your art installations invite strangers to interact in unexpected places. How does the environment influence their willingness to be present?
As I mentioned, I have that is a very good question. So, it depends. Where we talking about, where do we talk to people? Where are these? What is the environment of the exchange? And I have the freedom of making those exchanges in very unusual places. I bring my art installations to the national parks of the United States, where people are just there to visit and see nature and a beautiful view and some wild animals and get a picture of a bear or whatever it is, um, and some wild animals. And but there's the surrounding them is the whole context of the natural world, and it's a very different framework from the one that they arrived in their, maybe in a car or in a bus on a very busy freeway, coming from a city. So the mindset is different. That is a very um, open environment for people to have exchanges in. And I'll bring it further. I'll go walk up to the summit of a mountain where people like to go up for the view, and I'll spend my day up there and exercise artistic practices at the top there, including talking to people and engaging with strangers and asking them about this taboo subject of politics. And it goes down well, not just here in the United States, but I've tried it in different countries. And Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't think it would be that way at the beginning. I thought we'd have just constant arguments about things, but it ended up that it's not that at all, depending on how you frame things. I think everybody will recognize that as just makes common sense, but I think sometimes we need to be reminded of that we could do this. Yeah. And why do it? I mean, why? Because it's the foundation of our free societies, our foundation of our communities, to be able to engage with one another at a very time when we're spending more and more time on our phones, just clicking likes and hearts and all this. and being engaged by other than us as a community, as humans. We are engaged by digits of ones and zeros that are just trying to catch our attention, and it's a very different interaction. And our natural world shows one of greater interaction using all of our senses. And it's not just at our fingertips, using a mirror device. That's that's gleaming information out of us.
Absolutely right. I truly agree with you. And I think there is something so liberating about removing the usual scripts. I think we get closer to who we are without these roles. And also, you have dedicated 6 years to rebuilding social connection, one conversation at a time. What do you believe people are most hungry for beneath all the noise?
Mm. Well, it seems pretty obvious to me after fulfilling all their, your needs to feed and to drink. It's the love that we have for in the connection with community, and to discover others, a bit of ourselves in the other. And our things are not really made for us to do that anymore. We have so many distractions that take us away from that. Um, I don't know if anybody's noticed, our kids are spending much time, when they have access to a cell phone, they can be sat right next to one another on those phones rather than talking to one another. If those of us that still have, um, a system, that know the culture of communication in person, can reignite it and show our youth how that's done, and, that's an important direction for us to take, and I think everybody will agree with that. It's just how to do it, and the the way I approach it is you just have to engage, just take that step. Every little step you take, it doesn't, have to be a constant mission, but when the opportunity arises, hopefully we'll use the story of today as the opportunity to jump in and take that step and be vulnerable for just a second to the other. Maybe something positive will happen. Most likely that's the case. And recognize where people are at so we can better understand where we are in ourselves. Um,
Yeah.
it's a journey. Keep on saying that.
That's true. And also, like when they finally receive that presence, curiosity, or understanding, how does it change the way they move through the world?
Well, it happens more often than I suspected that people wish to do the same with others. And my artwork is used to give a tool or an example, a story that people can take with them. That encounter that we had, and when I ask them these non-confrontational political questions, the type of exchange with the artwork, they can use that story with others to start their own conversations, and go on from there. That's the transformation. We're story-based people. We need the experiences that we have in our lives. They're the ones that we want to share, and if people can relate to those stories and share, then then things grow. That foundation is being rebuilt. Yeah. Mm. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I think those small awakenings often ripple outwards, shifting not just individuals but the communities. And it's really wonderful to talk to you. You're really an amazing person. And if after this my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Well, this is gonna be hypocritical in me, but to connect with me, you're gonna have to go to a digital device. So and, I've decided, to use the YouTube as a platform to put down, like, a diary of the work of what I do with it's quirky, it's fun, it's abstract, It's not meant to entertain, but I've been putting videos and snippets of things on YouTube. And I'll share it with you. It's at Triptych Dialogue, which you mentioned earlier. And it's a funny word. It's written Triptych and dialogue. And if you type those two in, maybe you'll find me. I have an odd looking hat, and you can find me sometimes doing an abstract video with a rubbish can on my head. But you'll have to look for a long time before you find that video and wonder, what does that have to do with communication?
I think they will have no problem if they have to go to phone and find something this good. I think there shouldn't be any problem, and I will make sure to attach all these details and links below so that the listeners can find them easily and get in touch with you. And again, this is really an amazing conversation, such a heartfelt conversation, I think. And to all my listeners, thank you for being part of this exploration into mindful connection and the art of engaging strangers with openness and presence. If today's conversation starts something in you, let it lead you to one brave moment. Say hello, ask a question, or simply listen with intention. Connection begins with a single step, and the world becomes gentler every time we take it. Thank you. Thank you so much. This conversation. I'm really honored to have you, and I just look forward that I can have you back in my show very soon and listen more from you.
That would be a pleasure. Thank you so much for being there, and to all your listeners as well. And I hope this will be the occasion to go out and engage with someone, a stranger or somebody you already know, and listen to them deeply, actively with all your senses, and find something you have in common. And may you build many, many bridges.